Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Well, good evening, folks, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here live. To kick off the new year, it is officially 2024, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome to the show. Yes, that's right. We are here for another year of broadcast excellence, as the great Rush Limbaugh used to say. And ladies and gentlemen, I actually do think 2024 will be a good year for us. I can guarantee you one thing off the bat. It'll be a good year for the show in general, irregardless of politics or not. I have some plans for this show that I want to go over with you guys tonight and cover some things. Max Sand will be joining us later on in the program, maybe, but I want to cover some things with you guys. First and foremost, I do want to clarify just a few things. Usually Mondays episodes are pre-recorded. I usually don't do live shows on Monday. The reason why I'm doing a live show, tonight is because it is New Year's Day. It is, a holiday. It is a time to celebrate, so I'm happy to do a live show on, tonight for you guys. But first and foremost, as usual, Monday shows will be pre-recorded. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that Monday shows will most likely be interview shows that are pre-recorded. We have a lot of guests that we want to have on the program, but sometimes those guests can't always come on Wednesday nights, scheduling, whatever the case may be. Not everyone is able to come on Monday's show, but there are still guests who want to, not everyone can come on Wednesday's show when we do it live at 9 p.m. on Wednesdays. And so sometimes we are going to have, guests on the Wednesday show, but if they can't make it on the program on that day, we'll pre-record the interview with them and then have those episodes air on Mondays. They'll be pre-recorded beforehand. And I'm really excited because I know that we'll have some authors coming on the program this year. I don't want to announce, anyone quite yet, but I do know for a fact that our friend of the show, Eric P. Bishop, will be coming on the show at some point later in the year to discuss at least one of the books that he's going to be releasing this year. And I know that he's going to be working on, a second book. So maybe we'll have him on twice this year. I have some other author friends of mine that I am planning on having on the program as well. Whether or not they can appear on the Monday show or on the Wednesday show, it's entirely up to them, and their scheduling and availability, obviously. but we'll be having more authors on the program. We'll probably be getting Kurt Doolittle back on the program here as well to discuss more on the Natural Institute and some of the stuff that he is doing there. We covered a lot of the stuff with AI and whatnot last year when he was on the program with us back in February. And, it was great to have him on then. And I'm sure we'll cover a lot of AI and, business and technology stuff when we have him on this year. But I do want to ask more about the Natural Institute this year. And then who knows who else we'll have on the program this year. But it should be jam-packed for sure. I do want to say, too, that we will also have our good friend of the show, Morpheus, on the show at some point as well. He just got a new mic set up. So we will be having Morpheus on at some point in the program as well. Hopefully on a regular basis. But anyway, yeah, those are the plans for the year, folks. Just have as many guests on the program as possible. Also, we obviously want to, we're going to be covering the election as that winds up more and becomes more of a pressing topic. At this point, there's still not much activity, and there really won't be much activity for us to cover really up until like March or April, which I know seems far off, but I mean, it was only a year ago that Max, took over in February. So it hasn't even been a full year. And that, time flies by. So we definitely will be covering more election stuff, more towards, I guess, the middle of the year. And then obviously, later in the year, once, September, October, November, once August hits, really, that's when it's really going to probably be balls to the wall election coverage for the show. So, that'll be interesting to cover as always. And, who knows? We haven't mapped out the whole, we haven't mapped out the whole year for the show yet, obviously. It's only January 1st, but we do have plans, and we're very, happy to have you aboard and looking forward, to doing some great commentary on multiple subjects this year. Also, I hope everyone had a good New Year, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, last week of 2023. I certainly had a good week. Pretty low key. Not much happened. I did some more gaming. And just really kind of took it easy. I've been playing through The Witcher 3 a lot for like the past couple months. Really since October of 2023. That's what I've been playing pretty heavily. There was a brief period of time where I was playing Spider-Man 2 pretty heavily. And it is funny that, that game was the one that like everyone was slating to be nominated as Game of the Year, including yours truly, by the way. Like, I will own up to the fact that I thought that out of all of the AAA games, I thought Spider-Man 2 would have been the one to, dominate the field and, take home Game of the Year. But evidently that was Baldur's Gate. And people are saying that Spider-Man 2 lost because of all of the woke stuff. And, as far as the Game Awards go, I mean, the AAA gaming industry is pretty woke as a whole. So I don't think that was it. But Baldur's Gate 3, even though I haven't played it, from what I understand, like, gameplay-wise and mechanics-wise, it is pretty incredible. So I guess they earned that title of Game of the Year. So whatever. But like I said, I've been playing The Witcher 3 since October. Thanks to Morpheus and Max both recommending the Witcher game series to me. And so that's kept me pretty busy in the gaming world as a whole. And I'm trying not to like rush through the game as far as like the main story goes, though I am already on Act 3 of the game. According to what my PlayStation console tells me, at least. But I'm hoping that at the very least I can do some of the expansions before finishing the final story, because I'm told from Morpheus at least that that's how you really should play the game. You should I'm told that you really do need to like complete Fire and Ice and Blood and Wine, those expansions before finishing the whole game. So I don't know, but it is a pretty good game overall. Really enjoying it. I can understand why it's so critically acclaimed. And yeah, I know there is supposed to be a Witcher remake, but let's be honest, we probably won't get that until 2025 or maybe even 2026 now. Who knows? At this point, like, games are being announced like it's crazy. I'm seeing announcements like for games that are supposed to come out in like 2027 or 2028, which is crazy to me. Like apparently Insomniac, they're so confident of the success of Spider-Man, that series, and of the upcoming Wolverine series that is going to be coming out, that like I guess they've already announced that like both Daredevil and Blade are getting their own games within the Insomniac Marvel universe. The only thing is we won't be getting those games until 2027 or 2028. So my question is, folks, and it's a perfectly valid one, I'm not the only one who's asked this, is why announce games so far out? Like, I understand announcing games that are like a year out, maybe even 2 years out. I can understand that, but to announce a game like 5 or 6 years out or 3 or 4, That seems a little crazy to me. But then again, Cyberpunk 2077, I believe it first got announced like way back during the PS3 360 era of consoles, and that was like back in 2012. I think that's when it gets announced, and it didn't even get like released until 2020. And of course, we all know what a fiasco that game was at launch, right? Like, even though Cyberpunk now is like a pretty damn good game, everyone remembers when it first launched, like there were memes just about like how bad it was, right? And even though, like, credit to CDPR for doing a good job on fixing that game, like, don't get me wrong, they did do a fantastic job of fixing that game, but it still doesn't change the fact that that game was broken on release. So, um, and that's something like, yeah, they've fixed, but like that's going to be like forever etched in CDPR's history. So, as far as like Insomniac announcing the Daredevil and Blade games like this far, you know, out, like, I don't know, might not be such a good idea, folks. That's all I'm saying. Um, Also, Morpheus in chat says, "Good evening, Sam. Happy New Year." He also says, "Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine." Oh, yeah, excuse me. I said Fire and Ice, and yeah, I confused that with Game of Thrones. Um, but yeah, like I said, the 2024, I don't really know. Like, I know there have to be some games coming out, probably probably like in the indie games, genre. But as far as like major releases go, I'm not sure what's coming out. I do know that like back in 2022, Remedy announced they were projecting back then that they would be releasing the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes um in 2024, but as we mentioned on the last episode of the show last week, for the year, I did mention that James McCaffrey, the voice actor of Max Payne, he passed away at the end of 2023. So now there's the question of whether or not uh, they're going to uh, go ahead with the project, or if they're going to you know or if it's going to be delayed, and what they're going to do. um Honestly, like, I know that there are some people who have said that like maybe he should be recast at this point, but like, let's be honest. James McCaffrey as Max Payne is iconic. And I don't think it would be right to recast his voice. Um, at this point, especially like if they already have the game like majorly developed, and there were also like there were there was speculation that like he had already done most of his voiceover work for the remake. So, I mean, I'm assuming if they're just doing remakes of the game, they could they could use the new audio and then just like take the old audio from like the older games and like import that in. They have the technology for that now, so why wouldn't you at that point? Uh doesn't seem like you would need to recast them, to me at least. Not unless you wanted to do like a brand new Max Payne game, which you know, like I don't think there needs to be a Max Payne 4 or even like a Max Payne prequel, honestly. I think Max Payne 1 and 2 are great games on their own. And I actually like Max Payne 3 as well, for what it is. I think clearly like number 1 is the best in the game series overall. And I do like Max Payne 2 as well. 3, I'm not really that big on like taking Max out of New York City and putting him in Brazil, but it worked and they told a good story. Like I said, I think the remakes that Remedy is doing, I think that's a worthwhile venture. I just don't know if they need to like make a number 4, which I think is what Rockstar was planning on doing with the PS4 at one point, but they never did. So anyway, all in all, really, I don't know what's going on with the gaming industry in 2024. If there are going to be any big releases, and honestly, like at this point, too, like I don't care. Like I have games that that I can play through endlessly. Like I'm happy. So I'm still going to be busy with The Witcher for a while and other games as well. So that's that. Well, I mean it's January 1st, so really there's not much news going on at all. Pretty quiet New Year for all intents and purposes, which is always good. There is one topic though that I do want to kind of bring up though. We kind of talked about this a little bit in 2023, but it does kind of bear worth talking a little bit, I think. And that's this whole like I guess trad life red pill holier than thou mentality. And I shouldn't have to bring this up again, but I'm I I'm going to, just because I do kind of find this attitude from some people to be really irritating at this point, to be honest. So I don't know really quite what happened, but apparently there's been this big stink over that conservative like dad Conservative Dad Brewing Company, I guess, came out with that calendar that was like a 12-month calendar that had all these like really attractive conservative female influencers on it. And for whatever reason, the red pill community slash the the trad life slash no fap community, or whatever you want to call them, has decided that this calendar, this very tasteful calendar, is somehow, they've labeled it as porn. Now, let me go ahead and show you what the calendar looks like. If I can pull up on X here. Okay. Nope, that's not what I was looking for. Hold on a sec here. Don't you just love trying to filter out okay. I've got it. Okay, let me see if I can get this. Okay. So let me see if I can find it. Dead air, I know. Okay, let me see here. Well, while I'm scrolling, let me just fill you guys in. So, like I said, Conservative Dad Brewing Company, or whatever it's called, they released a calendar. Let me actually just Google the calendar itself, because that would be easier than going on Twitter itself at this point. Okay, I'm sure this will yield some interesting results. But hey, that's what we get. Yes. Okay, age verification. Okay. By the way, my birthday is coming up later this month, ladies and gentlemen, but that's another topic we'll cover here in a bit once Max shows up. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there's this calendar that is made by Ultra Right Beer Brewing Company. And basically, they decided to make a calendar that is similar to the old like swimsuit calendar that Miller High Life used to make in the 80s that had um like swimsuit models and stuff like that. Ultra Right Beer decided to do a calendar similar to that, but with women who are considered influencers, right? So let me pull this up because I actually found it. But for those of you viewing, folks, this is the calendar in question that has gotten Twitter into an uproar over like the last few weeks. Conservative Dads, Real Women of America 2024 calendar from altrightbeer.com. And for those listening on audio, it's $25, limited supply. And the description reads, Conservative Dads, Real Women of America calendar is a celebration of conservative women who are fighting woke extremists to preserve real women. 10% of sales will be donated to the Riley Gaines Center to protect women's sports from extreme leftist ideology seeking to destroy real women. Featuring the most beautiful conservative women in America. So you have Riley Gaines, Dana Loesch, Kim Clack, Audrey St. Clair, Sarah Gonzalez, Josie the redheaded libertarian, Catalina Lauf, Brittany Jean, Bethany Bartlett, and Peyton Drew. Now, okay, it has a picture of Riley Gaines in a swimsuit on the cover. But she's clothed. There's there are a few preview images here. And yeah, I mean, clearly just from the images, like all of the women here are like clothed. You can see, particularly on this one, like none of them are nude. Like they're literally all clothed and they're all pretty tastefully, posed. Right? So it's not nudity, folks, right? And yet the prude right, as I like to call them, or the red pill gang, whatever you want to call them, the nofap crowd, thinks that this calendar of fully clothed conservative women is tantamount to porn. And it's ridiculous, honestly. There used to be the saying, folks, that like pornography, uh, there's the joke that like, how do you know what's porn? Well, you know it when you see it, right? Like that's kind of the definition of porn, right? Or at least it was, because like now I'm not sure if people actually know what porn is, honestly. They should, but the fact that we've got so many prudes out there on the right now claiming that this calendar of conservative influencer women, the fact that this to them is the same thing as like porn, as like hardcore porn, does show that like this is why people laugh at conservatives, ladies and gentlemen. This is why normies like laugh at the red pill community, because it's silly. This is not porn. And yet the the trad life community, the red pill community, has decided to spend its first day of 2024 bitching about the calendar, which they've been bitching about like since December. So it's not exactly like brand new news, but like they're still bitching about the calendar even on January 1st, and it's pointless. But even more than that, folks, they've gone a step further to just absolute levels of absurdity. And now they're bitching about this conservative influencer named Isabella Maria DeLuca. Basically, the trad community is upset because Isabella Maria DeLuca, I don't know where she got her start, but she's a conservative influencer, and basically, I mean, there's no other way to say this other than the Isabella is hot. And the trad community is mad about this. And it's become a huge thing now. This woman right here is too sexy for the red pill community, ladies and gentlemen. And like, I'm not seeing any links to any like, there's no OnlyFans links or Pornhub links or anything like that. But I guess like the red pill community, especially this guy, Rational Male or Rollo Tomasi, whatever their name is, they've been like basically picking on her because she's a hot female conservative, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, I know, like, you can joke, well, Sam, you're just a simp. You know, we know you love the ladies, all that stuff, right? And look, I'm not going to deny, like, I am a red-blooded American male. I love the ladies, ladies and gentlemen. As anyone who knows me and knows the program, and knows what the program is, y'all know I love the ladies. This, I guess, is what they're getting upset about, folks. The fact that she made a video of her making a cake, and because she's naturally well endowed, they're upset basically that she's hot and she's conservative and she has large breasts. That's what the quote unquote red pill community has gotten their panties in a bunch about, is that she's a voluptuous young woman who's claiming to be conservative. And their argument is basically, well, she's hot and she's too hot to be conservative, so therefore she can't be conservative. That's basically their argument, is that she has big boobs, therefore she can't be conservative. Which to me is a really stupid argument, especially because I'm not I'm no prude here. I'm not prudish at all. But it does kind of seem weird to me that now all the trad life people who claim to be so much they claim to be moral people, and they claim to be wholesome and moral people. They're basically saying, well, because this broad has a big rack, she can't be conservative. As if that matters, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason why I bring this up is because, yeah, it might be a stupid, minute issue, but this is the stuff that conservative Twitter decides to hyper focus on. And they like to get into big internal debates about chicks like Isabella here, and whether or not she actually has actual conservative credentials because she's hot. That they would rather spend a whole day arguing about this and getting everyone involved in whether or not she's an actual conservative. When I don't know, we should be discussing who the candidate is going to be in 2024, or how are we going to stop Biden and the Democrats from stealing the election again in 2024 like they did in 2020. What's going to happen if there are Antifa riots during the election, stuff like that, right? This is really the time now where we should actually be discussing pertinent political strategy. But no, we have to argue about whether or not some conservative chick is actually conservative just because she's attractive and has big titties. That's literally where we're at as a party, and it's ridiculous. And as I tweeted earlier in the day, Isabella here, to me at least, has more conservative credits than the quote unquote prude right does. It's it's ridiculous, but it's true. So and and even if she was an OnlyFans influencer, or even if she was a porn star, not saying she is, like, as far as I know, she's just a pretty girl who has like an Instagram account and posts conservative things. But even if she were a porn star like Brandy Love, and I know I caught a lot of slack for saying this, from some people, but I would rather have 1,000, porn stars, quote unquote, like Brandy Love, who, yeah, I might not agree with like their profession of choice or all their like sexual morals, but we agree on like 97 on like 99% of the same stuff. And so I would rather have someone like Brandy Love in the Republican Party who gets like populist conservative, who gets Kid Rock conservatism and understands it, as opposed to someone like Rolla Tomasi, or the Rational Male, or Andrew I can't even think of what the trad guy's name is. Oh, Andrew Tate. I would rather have 1,000 Brandy Loves over an Andrew Tate, because a Brandy Love, even though she's a porn star, we're not gonna be bickering over the fact that she's a porn star, and someone else might not approve that. I doubt she would care if someone watches her videos or not. I think she cares more about like saving the country and getting Trump reelected, as opposed to some morally superior moral fag like Andrew Tate, who's got unreasonable expectations for what a male should be. And by the way, he's a hypocrite too. All these trad people are insane hypocrites, right? Most of the people who are preaching NoFap, with the exception of Max himself, most of them are the worst offenders of violating their own like trad life rules. They're hypocrites to the highest extent. And it's utterly ridiculous. So like I said, I just think that the whole trad life movement is stupid, but it's going to get us slaughtered in the election, because well, let's just look at the past, for example. Herman Cain back in 2012 was the he was pretty much the populist candidate for president in that race back in 2012. And then lo and behold, it was discovered that he had an affair with his secretary like 30 years prior to that. And rather than just accept that he made a mistake and was unfaithful to his wife once 30 years prior, the GOP decided to basically say, nope, he can't run. He must withdraw from the election because of one mistake that he made a long time ago. And as a result, what do we get, ladies and then we got Barack Obama's second term, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got, and it didn't turn out very well for us at all, in my humble opinion. So, we did get Trump in 2016, which was good. But that's because, people didn't listen to the naysayers who said, oh, Trump slept with porn stars. Most people don't care about that stuff. Now, people's mistakes in the past. Heck, the Dems don't even care about when Hunter sleeps with like an underage, prostitute in Ukraine. Most of them on the Democrat side, don't even know that happened, in all honesty. So they certainly don't care. So why are we getting up in a whole fuss about basically hot chicks being in the conservative movement? There's no reason to, ladies and gentlemen. None whatsoever. But anyway, really not much else to cover, folks. That's about all I have for today's episode. I don't know if Max is going to come in here or not. I do know that he had to put his son to bed, and I also know that the show was kind of impromptu, so we didn't necessarily plan for this show to happen. This was just kind of an impromptu thing, but I decided to go ahead and do a live show for you anyway. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Happy New Year, everyone. We will be back on Wednesday for the Wednesday show. Maybe, there will be more news to talk about then. Maybe not. Who knows? But in the meantime, I want to thank you all for tuning in. It's going to be a good year, ladies and gentlemen. And I can't wait to see what 2024 has in store for us all. From all of us here at NGC Studios and Right to Offend Media, I want to thank you all for joining me. Good night. God bless. God save this great nation. And God, freedom, legacy, in that order. I'll see you on Wednesday's show. And, we'll really kick off the new year then, folks. Have a good evening and God bless.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.